There is something unsettling about bus stations at night. The flickering lights, the distant hum of engines, the occasional lone figure waiting in the shadows. But in some places, the silence is broken by whispers that shouldn't be there, footsteps that vanish into thin air, and shadows that move when no one is watching. Across the United Kingdom, these stations have become hotspots for the unexplained. Ghostly figures spotted on security cameras. Passengers vanishing without a trace. Even bus drivers refusing certain late-night shifts after what they've seen. Tonight, we uncover the chilling stories of 15 of the most haunted bus stations in the UK. Some of these places have histories soaked in tragedy. Others are said to be home to spirits that refuse to leave. And one in particular is so terrifying, even paranormal investigators refuse to return. Have you ever felt like you were being watched at a bus station? Or heard something you couldn't explain? Let us know in the comments below. And stay with us until the end, if you dare. Haunted Bus Station Number 1, Aldgate Bus Station, London. London never truly sleeps. Even in the dead of night, the city breathes. Streetlights flicker, distant sirens wail, and the echoes of footsteps vanish into empty alleyways. But hey, at Aldgate Bus Station, something lingers in the silence, something watching, waiting. Passengers waiting for the night bus have reported an unsettling presence, a chill in the air that doesn't fade even in the summer months. Some hear soft weeping from an empty platform. Others glance up at the security cameras and see flickering shapes that shouldn't be there. But the most disturbing sightings come from those unfortunate enough to encounter her, the White Lady of Aldgate. The legend of the White Lady dates back to the days of war and loss. As the story goes, she was a young woman, deeply in love with a soldier who promised to return to her. Every evening, she would wait at the station, her eyes scanning every face, her heart clinging to hope. But fate was cruel. One night, a telegram arrived. Her beloved had fallen in battle. The news shattered her, and she returned to the station one last time, grief-stricken, inconsolable. Some say she collapsed right there, her final breath stolen by heartbreak. Others whisper that her despair drove her to a far darker end. Whatever the truth, she never left. The first reports of ghostly activity came from the station's night staff. Cleaners working alone would hear the sound of soft sobbing, only to find the platforms empty. Bus drivers claimed to see a woman in white standing by the curb, her head bowed, waiting. But as they pulled up, she vanished. Security footage has captured unexplained anomalies. Lights flickering in rhythmic patterns, dark shapes shifting in the corners of the frame. One officer, reviewing the tapes after his shift, swore he saw a pale figure standing behind him, only for her to disappear when he turned around. Paranormal investigators have visited Aldgate, armed with night vision cameras and EVP recorders. One chilling recording picked up a faint, sorrowful whisper, "He's not coming back." Another investigator, feeling an icy hand brush against his arm, asked, "Are you here?" The response was immediate, a loud, static-filled yes. To this day, passengers at Aldgate still report strange occurrences, the feeling of unseen eyes, the flicker of movement just out of sight. And if you ever find yourself waiting for a bus here late at night, listen carefully. You might hear her, softly crying, still waiting for the love who never returned. But Aldgate is just the beginning. Stay with us as we uncover another terrifying location, one where the ghosts don't just linger, they reach out. Haunted Bus Station Number 2, Bristol Temple Mead Station. There's something unsettling about Bristol Temple Meads at night. The station sits in silence, its vast, empty platforms swallowed in shadows. But listen closely. Beneath the hum of distant trains and the soft rustling of paper tickets, there's something else. A whisper. A breath against your ear. Many who pass through feel it. That creeping sensation of being watched. Some see shadowy figures darting between pillars. Others claim to have been touched by unseen hands. But the most chilling accounts come from those who meet the station's most infamous ghost, a spirit that still roams these halls, searching for his next mark. Long before Bristol Temple Meads became a transport hub, the land it stands on held something far older and far darker. Historical records suggest that parts of the station were built over ancient burial grounds, disturbing the final resting place of those long forgotten. Disturbances that, some believe, awoke something that should have remained undisturbed. But it's not just the dead beneath the station that trouble the living. In the 19th century, a notorious pickpocket named Robert Gray was said to haunt these very platforms. He worked the crowds of travelers, slipping through the bustling station unseen, until one fateful night when justice caught up with him. Some say he was stabbed in an alley just outside the station. Others whisper that he fell onto the tracks, his body never recovered. Yet, if the stories are to be believed, Robert never truly left. Passengers waiting alone have reported a strange sensation, a sudden chill, a light brush against their coat, as if unseen fingers were reaching into their pockets. One woman swore she felt someone pull at her handbag, only to turn and find no one there. Staff working late shifts hear whispers echoing through the empty halls. Not full sentences, just faint, breathy murmurs, as if someone was standing right behind them. But the most terrifying accounts come from security guards reviewing the CCTV footage, watching helplessly as shadowy figures drift across the platforms, only to vanish when approached. Paranormal teams investigating the station have recorded eerie EVP sessions, capturing voices that shouldn't be there. One chilling recording picked up a male voice hissing, "Mine, all mine." Another investigator, filming the dimly lit corridors, caught something terrifying, an indistinct figure watching from a distance. When they turned back, it was gone. And then there's the infamous footage from 2019. A lone commuter, waiting for the last train, was caught on CCTV looking around in confusion, as if hearing something only he could perceive. Suddenly, his scarf was yanked from his neck by an unseen force. To this day, travelers at Bristol Temple Meads report strange happenings, bags unzipping on their own, footsteps that follow but leave no trace. And if you ever find yourself waiting for a train, feeling an unexpected chill, check your pockets. You may not be alone. But this is just the beginning. Our next haunted station is home to something even more terrifying, a presence that doesn't just watch from the shadows, it reaches out. Haunted Bus Station Number 3, Southampton Coach Station. There's a reason why late-night travelers at Southampton Coach Station never sit alone. It's not just the dim lighting or the distant hum of engines, it's the feeling. That heavy, invisible weight pressing against your back. The unmistakable sense that someone is watching. Some ignore it, convincing themselves it's just exhaustion playing tricks on their mind. Others aren't so lucky, because those who dare to turn around have seen something they wish they hadn't, shadowy figures lurking just out of reach. Southampton is a city with a long and haunted past, a place once ravaged by war and tragedy. During World War II, the Blitz reduced parts of the city to rubble, leaving behind countless lost souls. Some believe the spirits of those who perished never truly moved on, and some found their way to the coach station. The waiting area, now filled with passengers and flickering neon lights, was once the site of a bustling wartime shelter. It's said that a bomb struck nearby, trapping dozens underground. Someone never recovered. And now, when the station is quiet, their voices return. Passengers have reported an overwhelming sensation of being watched, their skin crawling as they sit alone. Some feel an icy breath against their ear, only to turn and find no one there. Then there are the shadows. Not the ones cast by passing headlights, but figures that move against the walls, shifting unnaturally. A night worker recalled seeing a dark silhouette in the reflection of the ticket office window. But when he turned around, the room was empty. But the most terrifying experience, the whispers. Security guards closing up for the night have heard them, muffled voices, like a conversation just beyond understanding. And one traveler, waiting for a delayed coach, heard something chilling. A faint, breathy whisper right next to him. "You shouldn't be here." CCTV footage has captured eerie anomalies, strange flickers of movement in empty corridors, chairs shifting when no one is near them. One particularly disturbing clip showed a passenger sitting alone, suddenly jerking forward as if pushed by unseen hands. Paranormal investigators who have visited the station reported spikes in electromagnetic activity, often accompanied by a sudden drop in temperature. One recording picked up a voice, just one word, barely audible, but unmistakable. Run. Southampton Coach Station remains a place of transit, but for some, it's a place they never leave. So if you ever find yourself alone there, feeling unseen eyes upon you, don't stay too long. And our next haunted station, it's home to a spirit that doesn't just whisper, it walks among the living. Haunted bus station number 4, Leicester St. Margaret's bus station. Some buses arrive at Leicester St. Margaret's, but never leave. Passengers have reported a phantom bus pulling in late at night. The doors hiss open, figures step off, then vanish into thin air. No records, no driver, no explanation. The land beneath this station holds a grim past, once the site of a 19th century workhouse where the desperate spent their final days. Others whisper of a tragic bus accident in the 1950s. A vehicle full of passengers disappeared into thick fog, never to be seen again. Maybe that's why, some nights, the lost return. A bus driver, locking up for the night, spotted movement in his rearview mirror. A lone figure sat at the back, on a bus he knew was empty. He turned. No one was there. Then, a whisper behind him. Wait for me. Passengers speak of a ghostly bus arriving at the platform. Some step inside, only to realize there's no driver. The moment they turn to leave, the bus vanishes. CCTV footage has captured buses appearing on screens that aren't really there, doors opening and closing on their own, and shadowy figures sitting motionless in empty vehicles. One video shows a man waiting at the platform. He suddenly turns, nods, as if answering someone. But he was completely alone. If a bus arrives with no driver, don't board. Some passengers never make it back. And at our next haunted station, the spirits don't wait for the buses. They walk among the living. Haunted bus station number 5, Leeds City Bus Station. Late at night, when the last bus has long departed, Leeds City Bus Station doesn't fall silent. Footsteps echo across empty platforms. Lights flicker, casting long, restless shadows. And in the distance, a figure paces back and forth, waiting for a bus that will never come. Built on what was once a dense maze of Victorian streets, the station stands where a deadly tram accident took place over a century ago. It's said that one man, an old ticket inspector, never left his post. Even in death, he's still patrolling the platforms, forever collecting fares from passengers who no longer exist. Staff have reported cold spots so intense their breath turns to mist inside the heated station. Others have seen a shadowy figure in an old inspector's uniform, pacing near the ticket booths before vanishing into thin air. One commuter recalls standing alone when the overhead lights began to flicker. A ticket fluttered from his pocket, landing near his feet. When he bent down to pick it up, he felt it, an icy hand on his shoulder. But when he turned, there was no one there. CCTV has captured turnstiles spinning on their own, benches creaking under unseen weight, and objects sliding across the floor with no logical explanation. Paranormal investigators have recorded strange whispers over their EVP devices, one chillingly clear voice simply saying, "Ticket, please." So if you ever visit Leeds City Bus Station and hear slow, measured footsteps behind you, don't turn around. The old inspector may still be checking tickets, and he might just punch yours next. And up next, a station where the ghosts don't just watch, they whisper. Haunted bus station number 6, Manchester Piccadilly Bus Station. The station is nearly empty. The last few buses have gone, but as you walk through the dimly lit terminal, you hear it. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, but there's no one there. And then, the unmistakable scent of cigarette smoke drifts through the air. Except, smoking has been banned here for years. Manchester Piccadilly Bus Station stands on land with a long and turbulent past. In the 19th century, this area was a maze of cobbled streets, filled with smoke from the factories and the heavy scent of industry. It's said that one man, a well-dressed Victorian gentleman, would walk these streets every evening, never without his cigar. But one fateful night, he vanished without a trace. Some believe he met a violent end. Others say he simply never stopped walking, even in death. Staff working late shifts report hearing footsteps echoing through the empty concourse. Some say they've followed the sound, only for it to stop the moment they turn a corner, no one in sight. A bus driver once recalled waiting alone when he suddenly smelled thick cigar smoke right beside him. The air turned ice cold, and a whisper brushed against his ear. The words, "The last bus," never came. CCTV cameras have captured strange flickers of movement, blurred figures that seem to walk between buses before vanishing into thin air. Paranormal investigators who have explored the station claim to have recorded an eerie voice on their EVP devices, a deep, rasping breath, followed by the sound of a match striking. So if you ever find yourself alone at Manchester Piccadilly bus station, and the air suddenly fills with the scent of burning tobacco, don't look around. You might just catch a glimpse of the gentleman in the shadows, watching you. And before we move on to our next haunted location, let me ask you this. If you were ever trapped in an empty bus station with a ghost, would you try to run, or would you stay and listen? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you love chilling tales like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Haunted Bus Station Number 7, Nottingham Victoria Bus Station. Nottingham Victoria Bus Station stands as a quiet remnant of a once grand railway terminus. By day, it's just another stop for weary travelers. But by night, something lingers in the air, an uneasy stillness, a presence just beyond sight. Security guards on late shifts have reported seeing doors creak open on their own, followed by a soft, shuffling sound, as if someone is still waiting for a train that will never come. Before it became a bus station, this was the site of Nottingham Victoria Railway Station, a grand structure opened in 1900 and later demolished in the 1960s. During its heyday, thousands passed through its halls daily, some never left. The underground tunnels and old platforms beneath the current station are said to be home to restless spirits, one in particular, an elderly woman in tattered clothes. Some say she was a traveler who died tragically in the station, forever wandering in search of her next journey. Bus drivers and passengers alike have reported strange occurrences, doors swinging open as if unseen hands are pushing them, the sound of footsteps on empty platforms. One traveler claimed they saw an old woman sitting alone in a corner, her head bowed. When they approached to check on her, she simply vanished. If you ever find yourself at Nottingham Victoria bus station late at night, listen closely. You might hear the faint rustling of a dress, or feel a cold gust of air as a door creaks open on its own. And if you see an old woman waiting alone, don't blink. What do you think? Are these spirits truly trapped in time, or is something calling them back? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy uncovering the darkest corners of haunted locations, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. The next bus stop on this terrifying journey is one you won't forget. Haunted Bus Station Number 8, Sheffield Interchange. By day, Sheffield Interchange is a busy transport hub, but when the last bus leaves and the crowds thin, an unsettling presence takes over. The vast glass windows reflect more than just empty seats. Commuters and staff have reported seeing a shadowy figure in the reflections, one that isn't there when they turn around. It lingers, watching, waiting. Before Sheffield Interchange became the modern station it is today, this land was part of Sheffield's industrial heart, steeped in history, hardship, and death. The city was once known for its steelworks, where countless workers toiled under brutal conditions. Accidents were common, and many perished in factory fires, machinery mishaps, or collapsed tunnels beneath the streets. Some believe the spirits of these lost workers still wander, forever bound to the place where they met their tragic end. Late-night travelers have reported an eerie phenomenon, seeing a figure standing behind them in the glass panels, only to turn and find no one there. The reflection moves when they move, but the moment they look directly at it, it's gone. Security guards patrolling after dark have picked up ghostly murmurs on their radios, whispers that seem to come from nowhere. Paranormal investigators have even recorded chilling EVP sessions, capturing voices that plead, "Help me," or simply repeat passengers' words in a distorted, unnatural tone. If you ever find yourself alone at Sheffield Interchange, take a moment to glance at your reflection. But be careful. If you see someone standing behind you, Are you sure they are real? Has anything unexplainable ever happened to you at a bus station? Maybe you've seen something you can't quite explain. Share your story in the comments. Who knows, you might not be the only one. Haunted bus station number 9, Glasgow Buchanan Bus Station. Beneath the bright lights and constant movement of Glasgow Buchanan Bus Station, something lingers. The air feels heavier in certain spots, as if unseen eyes are watching. Near the ticket booths, a strange chill clings to the air, and a faint trace of perfume, old, floral, almost faded with time, drifts past. Those who work here late at night speak in hushed tones about her, the lady in red. Long before the station was built, this ground held an old tenement building, one with a grim history. A woman, young and deeply in love, waited for her fiancé to return from war, but he never did. Heartbroken, she was said to have ended her own life, falling from a window that once overlooked what is now the station's waiting area. For decades, travelers have glimpsed a woman in an elegant red dress standing by the ticket booths, her expression vacant, as if searching for someone. She never speaks. If you blink, she vanishes. But those who have seen her say one thing. Her presence lingers long after she's gone. Security footage has captured doors locking and unlocking on their own, though no one is near them. Late-night workers have reported footsteps echoing through empty halls, soft weeping in the waiting area, and an overwhelming feeling of being watched. One bus driver recalled seeing a woman in red step onto his bus just before departure. But when he glanced in the mirror to check her seat, it was empty. The only thing left behind was a chilling cold where she had been. Could she still be waiting for the one who never returned? Or she turned her gaze towards someone else? Haunted bus station number 10, Edinburgh Bus Station. At night, Edinburgh Bus Station takes on a different atmosphere. The usual hum of travelers fades, leaving behind an eerie silence. But then, just beyond the edge of the platforms, there's a flicker of headlights. A bus, barely visible in the dim light, seems to be pulling in. Yet, no bus is scheduled to arrive. And when staff check the CCTV footage, there's nothing there. Decades ago, a tragedy unfolded near this station. A bus driver, exhausted from long hours on the road, lost control of his vehicle. Some say it was brake failure. Others whisper that he swerved to avoid something, or someone, that wasn't really there. The bus crashed, and though passengers survived, the driver did not. Ever since, strange reports have surfaced. Travelers speak of a bus that appears on foggy nights, its doors opening as if to let them in. But the driver's face is eerily vacant, his eyes hollow. Those who approach say the headlights flicker, and then the entire vehicle vanishes before their eyes. Several late-night workers have reported hearing the distant hiss of air brakes and the murmur of an engine. But when they turn, the platform is empty. A security guard once chased after what he thought was an unscheduled bus, only to find nothing but tire tracks on the wet pavement, leading nowhere. And then there's the legend of the lone passenger, someone who once boarded a bus, only for the driver to glance in the mirror and realize they had no reflection. Was it a lost soul looking for a final ride? Or something else entirely? Haunted bus station number 11, Cardiff Central Railway Station. There's something unsettling about Cardiff Central Railway Station after midnight. The platforms, usually filled with the rush of travelers, become eerily still. But some say they are never truly empty. A shadowy figure has been seen pacing near the tracks, a man in an old railway uniform, his expression blank, his movements unnervingly precise. He never boards a train, and he never leaves. Long ago, a railway worker met a tragic end here. Some say he was struck by an oncoming train during a late-night shift, his cries swallowed by the roaring engine. Others claim he collapsed from exhaustion, his body discovered only hours later. Whatever the truth, one thing is certain, he never truly left. For decades, staff and passengers alike have reported eerie encounters. Whispers echo through the empty platforms, carrying words no one can understand. Cold spots appear out of nowhere, chilling even on warm summer nights. Security guards patrolling the station have felt unseen hands brush against them, only to turn and find nothing there. Some have sworn they've seen a man in an outdated uniform standing near the tracks, only for him to vanish the moment they blink. One worker described locking up for the night when he heard slow, deliberate footsteps behind him. As he turned, the air grew frigid, his breath visible in the dim light. But there was no one in sight, just the faint sound of a train whistle in the distance, long after the last departure. Is it a spirit still bound to his final shift, or is he waiting for something else entirely? Haunted Bus Station Number 12, Liverpool 1 Bus Station. Liverpool 1 Bus Station stands as a modern transit hub, its bright lights and constant movement masking something far more unsettling. When the last buses have left and silence settles over the empty terminal, strange sounds begin to creep through the air. Echoes of distant conversations, the rattle of unseen luggage wheels, and footsteps that never seem to arrive or leave. Before the sleek, modern station we see today, this land was once part of Liverpool's historic docklands, a place where countless travelers pass through, some never reaching their final destination. Stories circulate of those who lost their lives in tragic accidents, their restless spirits forever wandering the station's corridors. Late at night, staff have reported feeling an unseen presence watching them. Some say they've heard voices murmuring just beyond their reach, only for the terminal to be completely empty. Others claim that, in the dead of night, they've seen shadows dart across the waiting areas, shapes that vanish the moment you try to focus on them. One of the most disturbing reports comes from passengers who have felt something truly unnatural, a sudden, forceful push when standing alone. Several eyewitnesses have described being shoved forward by invisible hands, as if someone, or something, wants them to leave. One man waiting for a late-night bus stood near the platform when he felt a sharp jolt against his back, nearly sending him to the ground. But when he turned, expecting to see a prankster, he found nothing but empty air. The station was deserted. Are these spirits trying to send a warning, or are they simply reliving the final moments of their own journey? Haunted Bus Station Number 13, Newcastle Coach Station. Newcastle Coach Station. By day, a bustling transport hub filled with travelers coming and going. But when the crowds thin and the last buses pull away, an eerie silence takes over. That's when the crying begins. Faint at first, then growing louder. A baby's desperate wails echo through the station, but no child is ever found. No official records explain the source of the mysterious cries, but some believe they date back to the Victorian era when parts of this land housed a workhouse for the poor. Stories whisper of a young mother who arrived here alone, carrying her sickly infant, only to be turned away into the bitter cold. She was later found collapsed near the station, her child lifeless in her arms. Whether this tale is true or not, one thing is certain: the crying continues. Passengers waiting for late-night coaches have reported hearing the unmistakable sobs of a baby. Some have even followed the sound, searching every corner of the station, only for the cries to stop the moment they get close. A station worker once described hearing the wails just behind him, so real and so piercing that he instinctively turned around, expecting to see an abandoned child. But there was nothing, just empty seats. Ghost hunters who have investigated Newcastle Coach Station claim their cameras pick up strange anomalies, shifting orbs of light, flickering shadows, and even distorted audio recordings of what sounds like a woman humming a lullaby. Could these cries be the echoes of a mother's sorrow, forever trapped in time? Or is something else hiding in the shadows, waiting to be heard? Haunted Bus Station Number 14, Plymouth Railway Station. Plymouth Railway Station has seen countless travelers pass through its platforms, but not all of them have left. Some say one passenger still lingers, unseen but not unnoticed. It starts with a scent, a soft, almost comforting fragrance of lavender. But what follows is anything but soothing. The story goes back to the 1950s when a well-dressed woman, always carrying a small lavender sachet, was a regular traveler on the London-bound train. One evening, she boarded her usual carriage but never reached her destination. Some say she suffered a fatal heart attack mid-journey, while others claim she simply vanished, her ticket punched, her seat empty. After her passing, station workers began noticing something odd. The scent of lavender would suddenly fill the air in certain areas of the station, even when no one was around. And soon, the sightings began. Passengers waiting alone at night have described a strange sensation, a sudden drop in temperature, followed by the unmistakable aroma of lavender. Some report feeling a gentle touch on their arm, as if someone was brushing past them, only to turn around and find no one there. One railway worker, locking up for the night, swore he saw the faint outline of a woman in an old-fashioned dress near the ticket machines. She wasn't solid, but she was there. Before he could react, a freezing gust of wind swept through the station, though all the doors were locked tight. Ghost hunters have tried to capture proof of the lavender ghost's presence. Temperature readings often show unexplained cold spots, and on multiple occasions, audio recordings have picked up a faint sigh, just before the scent of lavender fills the air. Could she be searching for something, or someone? Or perhaps she's trying to warn travelers of something much darker lurking within the station's walls. And if you think this was unsettling, just wait until you hear about the hauntings at our next location, where spirits don't just appear, they follow. Haunted Bus Station Number 15, Birmingham Coach Station, the grand finale. Birmingham Coach Station has always been a place of movement, travelers coming and going, the hum of engines, the shuffle of footsteps. But late at night, when the crowds thin out and the station falls eerily silent, something else stays. Something that doesn't belong in this world. The origins of the haunting are unclear, but whispers among staff suggest a tragic past buried beneath decades of travel. Some believe the station was built over an old burial site, while others recall stories of a man who met a violent end in the restrooms, his life taken in a brutal attack. No suspect was ever caught, and locals claim his restless spirit has never left. And then, there's the figure, a towering, dark presence seen lingering near the restrooms. Always hooded, always watching. Those who dare to approach find nothing but empty air, yet they leave with an overwhelming sense of dread, and sometimes, scratches on their skin. Passengers have reported horrifying experiences, doors slamming shut on their own, luggage toppling over as if thrown by unseen hands, and the piercing sound of screams echoing through the empty station. One woman, waiting for a late-night bus, felt a sudden chill behind her. She turned, expecting to see another passenger, but instead, she saw it, a shadow moving unnaturally against the wall. As she watched in frozen terror, the lights flickered violently, and then, in a blink, the figure was gone. Security footage has captured the unexplainable, dark shapes shifting when no one is standing, restroom doors swinging open and closed without a breeze in sight. Paranormal teams investigating the station have recorded eerie EVPs, distorted voices whispering unintelligible words, followed by a single chilling phrase, "Get out." But perhaps the most terrifying question of all is this: if spirits can move things, if they can push, scratch, and slam, what happens when they decide to do more? Would you dare to wait alone at Birmingham Coach Station at night? Or is there a reason the last bus never truly leaves empty? Drop your thoughts in the comments, if you still have the courage to stay. From shadowy figures lurking in empty terminals to phantom buses that vanish into the night, these haunted stations prove one thing: some passengers never reach their final destination. We've uncovered ghostly apparitions, unexplained whispers, and chilling encounters that defy logic. But what if these aren't just stories? What if, next time you wait alone at a station late at night, you feel that same icy chill, that same eerie sense that you're being watched? Which of these haunted bus stations creeped you out the most? Was it the crying baby phenomenon in Newcastle, the lady in red of Glasgow, or the dark, hooded figure at Birmingham Coach Station? Let us know in the comments below. And if you've ever had a paranormal experience while traveling, we want to hear your story. If you enjoyed this journey into the supernatural, you won't want to miss what's next. Check out our video on the 10 most haunted train stations in the UK. You won't believe the spirits still riding the rails. The link is in the description. If you're fascinated by real ghost stories and the world's most haunted places, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell, because we have even more terrifying encounters coming your way. And trust me, you won't want to miss what's next. There's one haunted place so disturbing, even paranormal investigators refuse to return. Stay tuned.